Welcome to the Advise Show, Media, the Common Sense Approach. So we have a story out of Flint, Michigan. And what happened here is the city government decided to save $3 million and stop getting water where they knew it was safe. They chose to get water from somewhere else. And what ended up happening is lead got into the water supply of the poorest communities. And now these people are dealing with lead poisoning based off the incompetence of the city government and trying to save money at the expense of poor people. We're going to roll a clip.
The city of Flint residents, they are not people that are disposable. We just are not. It's a crime for people to be serviced with water that's classified by the EPA as toxic waste.
At RHONDA KELSO's house in Flint, Michigan.
I have a filter up under here.
This is actually one of the certified ones that filters out the
it
lead.
filters out the lead.
Cold water runs through a new filter, but the 52-year-old stroke survivor says she still won't drink it.
I have to depend on others, family members and friends to take me places and help me to go and get bottled water. And this is water that came out the tap. Look at this green at the bottom.
It was only a few months ago when she says she collected this from her unfiltered faucet.
Yeah, it came out brown.
At a time when state and city officials insisted the water was okay to drink.
Yeah, it's orangey when it settles all the way down.
For more than a year now, RHONDA and tens of thousands of Flint residents, mostly minorities and many low income, have been without certainty that their drinking water is safe. Most recently, hers tested positive for high amounts of lead, a toxic element especially dangerous for children.
Go look at the other pumpkin. Do you want the pumpkin back?
RHONDA's 12-year-old daughter, Kaylin, is developmentally delayed and has a heart condition.
You gonna bring it back?
When you hear lead poisoning or lead problems in the water, what did that mean to you and your family?
That raises your anxiety level, and it's really unknown. I feel like I'm numb.
How much had she been drinking the water?
I mean, it was almost a year before I got my own filter to put in there. So we were drinking the water, so we were exposed, and we were cooking with the water.
It's going to rain.
It's overwhelming, and it's just something that every day you have to deal with. Put it back up there on the banister.
Flint's water problems started when the city, under the control of a state-appointed emergency manager, opted out of a long-time agreement to get its water from the city of Detroit. That move meant the city would save upwards of $3 million, but it also meant Flint would no longer source its water from Lake Huron and instead use the local Flint River.
3, 2, 1.
At the time, officials celebrated the switch. Soon after, there were problems with discolored water, and eventually, news of lead. A year and a half later, Flint switched back to Detroit water.
The kindest thing you could possibly say is they were completely incompetent, sloppy, lazy, and uncaring.
Mark Edwards is an environmental engineer who specializes in water treatment. His team has independently tested water samples at hundreds of homes throughout the city.
Turns out the Flint River water was so corrosive, even after going through the water treatment plant, that it started to eat away at people's pipes, causing lead from some of those pipes to leach into the drinking water. What is it about the Flint River that makes it so corrosive?
Well, there's high chloride in it, so it's perfectly fine for fish, it's fine to canoe in, but the salt level in the water will tend to eat up pipes, including lead and iron pipes, and that's what happened in Flint.
Where are we now? Is the water safe?
It's going to be probably another month or two before we can say that it's meeting federal standards.
Many Flint residents, like Amber Whitman, worry about future health effects. She has a 7-year-old daughter and another child on the way.
When this has been going on and no one has been aware of it for long periods of time, I think it would concern any parent because most of the damage that is caused from lead is irreversible because it has all your different tips depending on what kind of sink you have.
The state is distributing free filters similar to this. It's also providing free water testing to Flint residents and pledged $9 million to help mitigate the crisis.
It frustrates me when you see things online and people who don't live in Flint say things like, well, why don't you just move? And I'm like, it's not that easy. Most of us don't have a choice. We financially cannot move. We're stuck here. There's nothing that we can do about it.
It's just another case of classism. And when it comes to poor people really isn't considered about anything. Poor people in this nation are looked at as a nuisance. Nobody really cares about poor people because it's always everybody's fault, their fault while they're in their condition. They should do this, they should do that, all this other stuff. And yet you think if they could get out of those conditions today, you think they wouldn't get out of those conditions? Do you think that they would gamble on the water supply of middle class people or upper middle class or the richest water supply? No, they wouldn't do that sort of thing. Why they wouldn't do that? Because they know that, hey, they got lawyers. They may be connected to judges. They may be connected to police, different political figures, even in Washington or even state government. They may know or donate to their campaigns and all this other stuff. So no, we're not going to mess with them. We're going to sit here and it's okay to do this to the water supply of poor people. And you know, anytime something happens to poor people, it's always people that got something to say. And you know, one thing I say about to those people is that you keep waking up every morning. One day it could be you. And then I want you to see how it feels at that moment. And I want to see you answer people and say, well, they should have just did this. They should have did that. And like that woman said, people say that, oh, they should just move away from there. Like it's easy. When you get a new job sometime and it's out of town, some companies pay you relocation money. Why? Because it costs money to move. Then you get a new place. You got to have a job in these new places. I mean, it's not as easy as talking about, because if it was, at the snap of a finger, it would happen. You know, one thing I just can't stand is just how evil people treat each other in society. And they're so evil with it until it becomes them. This is something that should have been all over the place, knowing about people and children being poisoned with lead because the city government and even the governor don't straighten things up in Michigan. This stuff is completely wrong. Nobody should be getting poisoned. And why you passing out filters for, and even though you're passing out free filters, it's still your fault. You have to financially compensate these people. You have to take care of them medically for a long time because of lead poisoning. And this stuff should not be swept underneath the rug. You know, it's like you could see, you know, I've seen this, how you treat it just even when you're in the hood. And then let's say if you get your education or you do good in life some sort of way, and now you're living a little bit better, and how people treat you then. Shoot, matter of fact, even some interactions with even law enforcement, they'll treat you different when you are in different levels financially. I mean, it's just wrong how we do things in this country. And it's wrong how we don't care about other people at all. Because we deem whose life is worth anything, and we're like we God or something. That's amazing me about this country. And you talk about this nation's a Christian nation. No, it's not. It's full of sinners and hell raisers. Because one thing Jesus wouldn't do is look at people like they're not worth anything because of their finances at the moment. And that's what I don't understand about people. So please just stop saying America's a Christian nation, because it kind of just repulsed me to even hear that sort of thing. You own your money, you're saying God we trust. You don't trust God. The only God you trust is the God of greed, the God of money, the God of self-indulgence. You don't trust anything about the God of heaven and earth. So you need to stop even faking the funk with everybody with the stuff you talk about. How you say you trust God and love God, but you go into everybody else's country stealing and plundering and killing? You ain't a Christian nation. So please don't let me even go down that path of that video, because I can probably offend every group in this nation to say how this country is not no kind of Christian nation. But, you know, this stuff needs to be called out. And the people in Michigan, you need to stand up to this stuff. Get those people in office out, because you should not be playing with people's lives like this. This is totally wrong. And it's just really how poor people in this nation are treated, period. Hit me up in the comments, future commentaries, subscribe.